Americans right to be watching this and be kind of disappointed in Republicans?
Well, I think they should be. I think they should be disappointed in the entire Congress. I mean, look at Schumer and Fetterman. Look at this speaker problem where Kevin went so far out to get the job that he lost all of his power, and he looks like a three-legged dog to his opponents, and now they're coming after him. It was inevitable that it would happen that way. And then you look at people like this Tlaib, who's a pawn of radical Islamicists. The two words that come to my mind about the Congress right now are banana republic.
Well, we actually put a graphic together and called it a clown show, so I don't know which one is more insulting. But I think you very rightly bring up. You got Rashida Tlaib, who has all but praised Hamas's attacks. You've got Matt Gaetz, who's got some pretty serious things coming from the Ethics Committee, reportedly. You've got George Santos, who's under indictment for stealing credit card numbers. And you've got Bob Menendez, who's under indictment for being an agent of Egypt, which might sort of matter in the world these days. This would be my question. There is a mechanism in the rule book, in the Constitution, for members of Congress, of the House and the Senate, to kick out their own members and clean things up. Why is leadership on both sides, and this is both sides issue, so loath to do that?
Yeah, I think by 2/3 vote they can do that. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't go after Menendez after the first round. I mean, he's like the Hunter Biden of the Senate. And they can get rid of him if they want to.
Yeah. I almost wonder if there is something that is a feeling that if you open that door, you start going down that path, then when do you stop? And everybody's scared.
Yeah, but it sounds pretty bad by Menendez. I mean, you know, what was the last guy that they kicked out was also from New Jersey, right? Traficante?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a New Jersey thing.
I don't know how many viewers we have in New Jersey, but they may. I don't know how they would feel about that. Look, I wanted you to take off your Congress hat, put on your ambassador hat. We're already seeing the Israelis get shellacked, not just by the Arab world, but the Europeans are already in on this as well. I'm wondering what you make of American leadership vis-a-vis the world. You were there for some of the last wars with the Israelis. You were at the Vatican. You were there advocating for American foreign policy. How has American leadership changed?
Yeah, I was deeply involved in the 2007 war when we used radar, ground-penetrating radar to locate the tunnels that connected Hezbollah to Syria, where they were running arms. I think there's some tunnels down in the Hamas area the same way. And the America dissidents, if you will, and actually some people that are opposed to Israel is unexplainable to me. I don't understand what is the Democrat-liberal fascination with radical Islamicists that want to kill innocent people. If you go back to 1929, when the Palestinians tried to kill off a bunch of Jews, and there wasn't even an Israeli state, they can't blame Israel. They have to blame their own radical ideology. And if you read the Quran, the last three surahs of the Quran are all about conquer by the sword.
Yeah.
It's a violent religion.
Your old boss, George W. Bush, was out at a conference a couple of days ago. This is what he had to say. Take a listen.
They want to kill as many Israelis as they can, and negotiating with killers is not an option for the elected government of Israel. And so we're just going to have to remain steadfast, but it's not going to take long. That's gone on too long. Surely there's a way to settle this through negotiations. Both sides are guilty. My view is one side is guilty, and it's not Israel.
You spent a lot of time in the Arab world as well. The dirty little secret of this, right, is the Arab world doesn't really care about the Palestinians either. From Morocco all the way to Indonesia, they could offer asylum. Egypt could offer humanitarian corridors and then send people off to new lives with big support from the Gulfies and their money. But none of that ever happens. Why is that?
Well, you know, I think the Palestinians are a difficult case. I mean, you know, the Arabs always try to buy people off with money and not do anything productive and to kick the can down the road, and the Palestinians keep coming back with murder. And George Bush, as so many things, called it correctly. They want to kill Jews. They use the state of Israel as an excuse. But
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.